Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Today is Tuesday. I'm not sure what day of the month it is, but Friday of last week was when I went and did the revenge on the mud bog. And during that ride, I was having problems with the bike scooting around with the knobs on the front and the rear. Come to find out, the tire that I had on the front is actually just a rear tire, a rear knob tire. And the spacing on the knobs is way too far apart for them not to wander across the road, and that's what was happening. Since then, I've taken that knob off the front and I put my V-rubber tire back on, and as you can see right here, we've got all kinds of close-knit knobs, and I did have a chance to take it out and ride it right after I did it. It was getting late in the evening, and it quit wandering. So I really wanted to sit back and go ahead and do a ride and video it so you could all see that it hasn't changed anything. And I've left the knob on the back. So we finally got a day without rain and we got sunshine, so I'm gonna get myself loaded up on top of this bike, and we're gonna go to an area where I can do some hard pack dirt and some pavement riding so we can see exactly what this thing does at speeds. So stay tuned. Whoa, wait a minute. Before we get too in depth on this evaluation of the knobs versus whatever off-road tires I have on here, or street tires or whatever, let's just lump all the tires together and let's do an evaluation on what does what the best, so you all know what my experience is with the tires that I've had. And it's okay, guys, I've got 4 sets of tires here. I've got 2 sets of the stock IRCs that come with the bike. One of them has 100 kilometers on them, and one set has 1,000 kilometers on it. And then I have the V-rubber tire, front and rear, 275 on the front and 300 on the rear, that have got 3,000 kilometers on it. And then I have the knob tires, the full onboard knobs, which is basically a pair of rear knobs because I could not find a front knob, and they've got 125 miles or kilometers on them, and that's it. So we're going to do an evaluation of all 3 different brands, but all 4 sets of my tires, and see how they wear, how they ride, and what you might want to do to your bike, because I'm not going to tell you what you need to put on your bike. I'm going to tell you how they worked for me, and that's it. So now let's get to the video and start doing this comparison stuff. And there will be some writing in here on the videos and how the tires handled the different riding conditions. So hey, talk to y'all later. Okay, people, I'm not going to tell you what tires to put on your bike. What I'm going to do is evaluate each set of tires and the conditions that they handle the best, so you can decide what you want to put on your bike, what best suits the type of riding you're doing. We're going to start with the IRC GP5s, which are the stock tires that come on the Honda CT 125. Now we have 2 sets of tires here. The set of tires on the left have about 100 kilometers on them. Set of tires on the right have approximately 3,000 kilometers on them. This is the rear, this is the front. This is the rear, this is the front. Now, they are a directional tire, and they are so marked which tire goes where. Even though they're exact same size, an 80 by 90 by 17 tire, they have a direction that they expect these tires to go on here. The rear tire, if you notice, the V's are shaped like this, okay? They're shaped like that. And on the front tire, the V is shaped like this. The V shaped like this is designed to push dirt out away from the tire, give you traction in a forward motion. The V's going this direction are meant to cup the dirt, pack it in, and give you turning direction. And that's the reason they have a directional tire, front and rear, on the IRC GP5s. Let me tell you what I've learned about, I've got over 1,000 kilometers on a set of these tires before I ever went to something else, simply because it took that long for me to get something else in. But the tires work really, really good on pavement. Dry pavement, wet pavement, makes no difference. They work really, really good. They're not maybe as good as a pure street pavement tire, but they're possibly a 70-30 type tire, so 70% pavement, 30% dirt, okay? And they work extremely well on pavement. There's a couple of guys that just ran their CT125s on the TAT. The YouTube channel that the guy is documenting this stuff on right now is called Some Guy Rides, and he's at episode 3 right now, and I'm watching him because it's interesting to watch what he's gone through. And the guy's not the most experienced rider in the world, but I tell you what, you got to admire what he's doing with a stock bike with stock tires, because he is riding it with these tires right here. And so far he's hoping and praying he doesn't have tire problem, but I got a hunch he does end up somewhere along the way have tire problem. So anyhow, these really are not bad tires. They're just not very good off-road. Even though it's a 30% off-road, they don't have the grip. And especially if you get into stuff that's slick, like mud or slippery rocks and stuff like that, they just have absolutely no gravel, gravel, stuff like that. They have absolutely no grip in that. They're fine for dirt, hard packed dirt. These tires work great. So anyhow, that's about these tires. Let's go on and let's go to the Shinko IRC GP1s and the V-rubber tread design, which is all the same. Okay, so let's go to that one and check them out. Oh hell, guys, I decided let's do the regular knobby tires next, and here's why. If you're going to be riding in regular conditions, to and from town, into your heels and all this stuff, I don't suggest that you put knobs on either front or rear. Part of the reason is, if you've got a knob, either the front or the rear or both, when you're going down pavement with any kind of speed, it gets real squirrely and it starts hunting. And it doesn't make any difference if you've got a regular knob that on the front that's close knit together, and an aggressive knob on the rear, which is what you're going to probably want on the rear. It's going to hunt and squirrel around on you one way or the other. Here's our first taste of dirt road. It's hard packed, light sanding and gravel over the top of it. It's very similar to what it's like on pavement. It's a little bit squirrely. Actually, it's squirrely enough. I wouldn't want to go real fast on hard packed dirt. So, if all you're going to use it for is a trail bike, then I would suggest, yeah, I've got no problem with finding a front knob that has the close-knit knobs together, or run the IRC, the Shinko, or the V-rubber front tire, 275/17 on the front, and it'll give you all kinds of traction up there. But on the back, if you want that grip, so if you got mud, deep sand, that kind of riding, and you're going to be doing it all the time, then fine, sure, go ahead and put an aggressive mud tire or knob tire on there. And this is what they look like. So knobs are spread out apart quite a bit. You've got a row of knobs on the outsides and then the deep bigger knob on the inside. Here's a better view of it. But I would not go, now granted this is up to you, okay, but I would not go higher than a 275 on the rear, and I'll tell you why. I've experimented with the gearing on my bike. Daniel has done the same thing. He ended up wanting to go exactly with what I had on mine, but it's either put a 13 tooth front sprocket on there or a 42 tooth rear sprocket on there. You have a little bit of ABS problems if you go with the front sprocket, where you don't seem to have the problem with the rear sprocket. But that gives you a little bit of power that this engine, as Worrell said, ride with Worrell. You need to watch his videos. As he said, this, let me think how he said it. This bike does a lot of things great, but climbing hills is not one of them. This bike does a lot of things great, but climbing hills is not one of them. And it's because this 8 horsepower engine, I think is what he was talking about, does a lot of things great, but does not climb hills worth a shit, to be honest with you. And if you don't do something to increase the ability for this bike to climb a hill, then you can't turn a rear tire with a lot of grip. And that rear tire right there has a lot of grip. And if you do the sprockets, you can actually spin that tire. And if you get into conditions where you need lots of traction, that tire is what you want on there. More so than, say, the Shinko, the IRC, or the V-Rubber dual sport tires, which are about a 70-30. 70% off-road, 30% on-road. And we're going to do that one next, okay? Okay, folks, we're almost done with this video. But yes, we need to put down and discuss what I consider the best all-around tire for this CT125. Now, that's just my opinion and the way it feels for the riding that I do around here. Yours may differ, okay? Here is a 275 V-Rubber 17 front tire. Here is a 300 V-Rubber 17 rear tire. Here's the knob tire that I just got through running, and here's a stock IRC GP1 front or rear. It doesn't make any difference. You still got the same tread design. It's just which direction you put the tire on. Now, those are the four different sizes and sets of tires I have for this bike. Now, Daniel and I are going to make one more trip back up either to the single track trails and go have some fun in the mud bogs, or we're going to take another trip up to the Thailand adventure trails, okay? So we're going to do that, and I want to leave the knobby on the back to see how it works in all of that situation. But when we get back from that, I'm going to go ahead and put my V-Rubber rear tire back on. Why? Because I think that is the best all-around tire that you can get for the Honda CT125, is that tread design. Now, that tread design, granted, Shinko makes it. I think it's called the 244. IRC makes it. It's called the GP1. And V-Rubber makes it. It's called the VRM 022. So I'm sure there's probably other companies out there that make that tire. But if you want a good tire to run on your bike that gets decent tread wear and gives you decent traction in all conditions, then in my estimation on it and my experience with what I've had with these tires, I would put the 275/17 on the front, 275/17 on the rear, and go out and have a blast with that type of tire. Okay, so hope y'all enjoyed this video, and next one's going to be a good one, okay? Because on the next one, I'm going to announce a giveaway, and it's going to be sprockets, front sprockets and rear sprockets, okay? Okay, rear sprocket. But anyhow, I'm going to announce a giveaway. Just so you know, this is what I'm giving away. I have two 13-tooth front sprockets for Honda CT 125, okay? I have one 42-tooth sprocket for the rear on a CT 125, Honda CT 125. So anyhow, these three items are going to be given away to somebody that has subscribed to my channel and leaves a comment in my next video. Not this video, but the next video, which is going to be me doing an update on my big bore kit on this bike. But I want to comment on whether or not I should monetize my channel, and let me explain why. This stuff does cost me money, and all I live off of is my Social Security check. Now, it may look like I'm just richer than hell and all that stuff, but no, I'm not. And all I live off of is my monthly Social Security check. Now, I had a decent life financially, and I set myself up fairly well, but my Social Security check is it. I just want you to know, these only cost me about $2 a piece, but they cost about $10, $11, $12 to ship it to the States. So it's not cheap. You know, when you don't make a whole lot of money, it's not cheap. This is a whole lot different story. That's why there's only one of the rears going on there. So anyhow, next video, okay, it's going to be the evaluation, a long-term valuation of the big bore kit on that bike. And I want y'all to sit back. You've got to be a subscriber. Tell me flat out, should I monetize my channel or not? Okay, and tell me either you want the front sprocket or the rear sprocket, because you're only going to be able to win one of them. Okay, all right, I'll see y'all later.
hurt. Oh, fuck, that hurt. Fuck. Well. Oh, fuck, that hurt.